The alien medic, Dr. Aris, tightened his frilled crest in apprehension as the ship's AI announced the docking of the human consortium vessel Haven's Light. On board was a creature that even the most stalwart of Drelek physicians feared, an injured apex predator from Earth. Known for their unparalleled adaptability, raw ferocity, and unerringly intelligent eyes, humans had always been a subject of caution and fascination in the galactic circles of medicine. This particular human was brought in from a failed expedition to the shifting ice fields of Kralos. The preliminary report detailed severe injuries, including fractured bones, punctured lungs, and deep tissue damage, wounds that would have killed most life forms. Yet, the human had managed to scrawl their own medical notes on a datapad before collapsing. Eris shuddered at the thought of approaching such a creature. He'd seen recordings of their battles. The way they fought with relentless determination, the feral growls that emerged even when they were gravely injured. As he stood in the pristine white corridors of the Drelek Medical Pavilion, his clawed hands trembled at the thought of what awaited. The hiss of the airlock was followed by hurried footsteps. The stretcher carrying the unconscious human was surrounded by a team of Drelek medics, each eyeing the patient warily. Their broad, smooth faces reflected their unease, and their movements were stiff and overly cautious. Eris's luminous yellow eyes fell on the human's form, sprawled and battered, but disturbingly calm in its stillness. "We'll need the neurostabilizer," one medic muttered, "and 4 doses of thermal suppressors," another added. Before they could proceed, a deep voice cut through the chatter. "You'll want to stop right there." Every head turned toward the source. A human had entered the room, but unlike the patient, this one was upright and alert. He was clad in a worn, practical suit of reinforced fabric, dusted with remnants of off-world soil. His beard was streaked with gray, and his sharp blue eyes carried a blend of weariness and authority. "I'm Dr. Leon Carter," he announced. "Veterinarian." A ripple of disbelief swept through the Drelek staff. "A veterinarian?" Eris finally managed to say, his voice tinged with both curiosity and disdain. "That's right," Carter said, striding toward the stretcher. "I've treated creatures 10 times meaner than this one, and if you're thinking of dosing him with thermal suppressors, you're going to kill him. Their metabolism will overcompensate and spike his core temperature past recovery." Eris hesitated, his crest twitching as he studied the grizzled human. The thought of entrusting a member of the same unpredictable species to manage this volatile patient seemed absurd. Yet Carter exuded a confidence that was difficult to dismiss. "Fine," Eris said reluctantly, motioning for his team to step back. "Show us how you would handle this." He searched for the correct term. "This apex." Carter nodded, removing a compact toolkit from his belt. With deliberate precision, he examined the patient, murmuring assessments under his breath. His movements were firm but gentle, betraying a practiced hand. When he reached the human's left arm, swollen and discolored, he sighed. "Compound fracture," he muttered. "Needs immobilization before the inflammation cuts off circulation." The Drelek medics watched in fascination as Carter improvised a splint using flexible composite rods and thermal gauze. He worked swiftly, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to their own earlier panic. As he finished, the monitors displayed a stabilization in the human's vitals. Eris couldn't help but emit a low trill of approval. Over the next few hours, Carter's unconventional methods continued to bewilder and impress the alien medics. He explained each step with the patience of a teacher, often referencing his experiences with Earth's wildlife. "Humans," Carter began, "are not so different from the animals I treat. We're built to endure. Our bodies will fight to stay alive long after logic says we shouldn't. It's both our greatest strength and our curse." "But why?" Eris asked, unable to contain his curiosity. "Why such resilience?" Carter glanced at him, a flicker of something unreadable in his expression. "We evolved in a world that tried to kill us at every turn. Survival demanded creativity and grit. That's why even when we're broken, we'll find a way to keep going." Eris's frills flattened in contemplation. The more he observed, the more he began to see humans not as mere predators, but as something far more complex, a species driven by an indomitable will to persevere. Just as progress seemed steady, the human's condition took a sudden turn. Monitors blared warnings, displaying a catastrophic drop in oxygen levels. The patient's breaths turned shallow, and his body convulsed. Panic erupted among the medics, but Carter remained composed. Pneumothorax, he declared, already reaching for a chest decompression kit. Collapsed lung. We need to reinflate it now. Eris hesitated. We've never. There's no time for debate, Carter snapped. Get me an airway sealant and a pressure stabilizer. Now. Despite their misgivings, the medics obeyed. With Eris assisting, Carter performed the procedure with precision, inserting a needle into the patient's chest to release trapped air. As the monitors stabilized, a collective sigh of relief swept through the room. Eris looked at Carter with newfound respect. You saved him. Carter shrugged. For now. But the real test will be whether he wakes up. The human's awakening was both a relief and a new challenge. His eyes fluttered open, and his gaze darted around the room, instinctively assessing threats. The tension was palpable as the medics stepped back, their fear of an injured predator evident. Easy, Carter said softly, stepping into the human's line of sight. You're safe. The human's eyes locked onto Carter, recognition sparking within them. He murmured something inaudible, his voice hoarse. Carter leaned closer, nodding as he listened. He's asking for water, Carter explained to the medics. A simple request, but crucial for recovery. Eris hesitated, then handed Carter a hydration pack. Watching the interaction, he marveled at how Carter's calm demeanor seemed to ease the human's tension. The once feared predator appeared almost vulnerable. As the human continued to recover, Carter gathered the medics for a final lesson. You see, he began, what makes humans formidable isn't just our physical strength. It's our capacity to connect, to trust, and to heal. Even in our darkest moments, those qualities are what pull us through. Eris tilted his head. But trust can also be dangerous. What if it's exploited? Carter smiled faintly. It's a risk we take. But without it, survival loses its meaning. That's why we extend a hand, even when it's bitten. Because sometimes it's the only way forward. When the human was well enough to be transported, Carter prepared to leave with him. Eris and the medics watched as the pair boarded the ship, a strange sense of loss settling over them. Dr. Carter, Eris called out. Thank you for teaching us. Carter nodded, his gaze steady. Take care of your patients, Doctor. And remember, sometimes, even an apex predator just needs someone to believe they'll survive. As the ship departed, Eris's frilled crest relaxed. For the first time, he felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, with patience and understanding, even the most fearsome creatures could be healed.